Now, the ANC has booted its former Secretary General, Magashule, from the party. This time, it's for good. He's out in the cold after the party's National Disciplinary Committee found him guilty of contravening numerous of the party's constitutional rules. This follows his attempts to suspend the president of the party, Matamela Sol Ramaphosa, last year. Let's get some more analysis for you this hour with Professor Dirk Kotze. Prof, good afternoon. Welcome to today. This is our breaking news story this afternoon here on eNCA. I'm not sure if you've been able to see that short statement by the ANC. Some commentators say this was no surprise. It's been coming.
Yes, that is for a long time now in the pipeline. It is actually two processes that are working together, but this one came to an end the first. And that is when he made the announcement just before he had to step aside that he suspended President Cyril Ramaphosa himself. And as a result of that, he was then asked to step aside, and he didn't, and then he was suspended. So what we are seeing now is that on 4 points, he has been found guilty by the disciplinary committee of the ANC. First of all, that he didn't acknowledge the authority of the National Executive Committee. Secondly, that he didn't that he undermined the authority of institutions of the ANC by referring therefore to President Ramaphosa as the president, and then also failing to promote the interests of the ANC in general. So it's very general in nature. It's not very specific in terms, but it is very difficult for him to defend himself. And that is why he was given some time to respond to these accusations, and he didn't. So it will be very difficult for him to appeal against this or to take it on review in a court, for example.
So is this the end of that relationship that spans, decades between Mr. Magashule and the ANC?
It looks like it. It looks like this has come a long way. It goes back to the period before last year's national conference. There it came really to a point of it's either him or it's President Ramaphosa. And President Ramaphosa clearly prevailed now. And it is also, I think, for someone like Magashule, the fact that he missed the elections last year, he's not in any position in the ANC as a result. He can't go back to any position. And therefore, it is actually, I would say, the end of the road for him. I won't be surprised if he goes to other political parties. The ATM is one possibility and some others to join them ultimately. But it will be a completely different ballgame. There he will not be in the position where he has been always, not as prominent and as powerful. And it will clearly be in the position of opposition against the ANC.
Yeah, and as you mentioned that we're showing visuals to our viewers of Mr. Magashule there with another expelled member of the ANC, Karl Neus. Those were visuals taken a few months ago, not new like today. They just made me think, and I want to ask you this, Prof, because Mr. Karl Neus was expelled and then he formed his own political formation. We haven't heard much about it for some time, but we see his face popping up now and again. Is it possible, you think, that Mr. Magashule might go the same route? Because there were a number of people who sort of supported him, or the factions within the ANC that were supporting him, and he was perceived to be a Jacob Zuma supporter himself.
Yes, that is certainly a possibility. And there has been speculation that he might form his own party. But I think my point will be is that this space that is available for these type of political formations become very congested now. We have the AIC, we have the ATM, we have Karl Neus's group, and we have several others also. And it is simply what they are actually doing, they are fragmenting, they are splitting the vote that might go in that direction. So for the ANC, it actually will mean that the opposition becomes even more fragmented than what it is at the moment. So from a purely strategic point of view, it would have been good for them actually to come closer together. And that in such a circumstances, as Magashule might still have been able to play a role. But I think the lesson that all the parties that split away from the ANC, whether it's the UDM or COPE or the EFF or at the AIC or the ATM or other groups, it's very lonely outside the ANC, and it's exceptionally difficult to become a viable party under these circumstances. And I can't see it in the case of Ace Magashule, that he will be able to be the leader of a new beginning as a type of opposition movement against the ANC.
Yeah, you know, your last answer there has led me nicely, the last part of your answer, to the next question. The man whom he was regarded as an ally of, that's Jacob Gedlehle Zuma, once said it's cold outside the ANC. Now, Mr. Magashule has been expelled. How cold do you think it's going to become for him from just what you have said?
Well, as to continue with this, it will be very cold. It will be actually so cold that it will be almost impossible for him to make any form of political comeback. And I think we will look back at this as maybe the day on which his political career came to an end. I won't be surprised if that is the case and that he will not be able to make any form of return to national politics in South Africa.
Thank you very much for your analysis this hour here. That's Professor Dirk Kotze from UNISA, just sharing with us some insights and views about the breaking news this afternoon that Ace Magashule is now out in the cold after being expelled from the governing party by the ANC's disciplinary committee, statement being issued a short while ago. I'm sure there'll be more analysis as we continue looking at what this means for the man himself and the message that the ANC is trying to send out about ill discipline within its ranks. It looks like Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, the ANC president, is indeed showing that he's serious about cracking the whip against ill discipline in the party, as the party resolved in its December conference last December at Nasrec.